Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Ground Up Garage. Today we're going to do a little bit of a different video. Today we're going to do a video on how we refurbished the rear end in this car and rebuilt all the rear suspension on a budget of $700. So fasten your seatbelts, lock yourself in your garage, grab a notepad, whatever you need to do, because you're not going to want to miss this one. Okay guys, so as I said, today we're going to do a little bit of a different video. I've talked to several people that they like the build that we're doing, they like the videos. Several of them have builds like this that they want to do, but they think it's too expensive or they can't afford the parts. And the parts really don't need to cost as much as you might think they do. So I'm going to go over how we did this one so cheaply. Now, before I get into where we bought the parts or how much we gave for them, let me tell you a little bit about how I budget shop for parts. The first thing I'll do is I'll go to the manufacturer's website and I'll see how much the manufacturer charges for that part. And then I'll write down the manufacturer's exact part number for that part. Once I have that information, then I'll go to about 4 or 5 other places and compare the price of that part at those other places. For instance, usually I'll go to Summit and I'll see how much Summit charges for that part. Then I might go to Jegs and see how much they charge for it. I'll go to Amazon, I'll go to eBay. Now, I know eBay gets a bad rap for a lot of Chinese knockoffs and a lot of junk. And I'm not going to lie, there is a lot of Chinese knockoffs and there is a lot of junk on there. You have to be careful. But if you do the proper research, you can get a lot of these aftermarket performance parts on eBay, sometimes cheaper than you can get them anywhere else. And they're still the same exact parts. So how I would do that is I'll go to eBay and I'll type in the manufacturer, their part number, and what the part is. And that's going to bring up a list of parts. The first thing I do is I scroll down through there and I find the cheapest price I can on that part that has free shipping. Free shipping is a big key. If you don't pay attention to the shipping, even though the price of the part might be cheaper on eBay, you could still end up spending more money after you pay for the shipping. So that's why the cost of the shipping is important. So once I've found the part, the cheapest price I can find that has free shipping, the next thing I'll do is I will scroll down and I'll look and see where that part ships from. If it ships from California or Michigan or Ohio or somewhere like that, it's shipping from a company within the U.S. You have to remember, nowadays, a lot of manufacturers, even the big ones, have eBay stores. They also have authorized dealers, and there might be an individual just like me or you that is an authorized dealer for that company, and they might be selling their parts on eBay. So just because it's coming from eBay doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. So once I have the part, the cheapest price I can find with free shipping, and I know that it ships from within the US, if that is the cheapest price that I can get on that part between all the sites, I'll buy it from eBay. That doesn't bother me one bit. As long as I know that I'm getting the same quality part from the same manufacturer, it's okay. So let me get into a little bit about what we bought for the car, where we bought it, and how much we gave for it. So let's start with the rear end itself. If you watched our first video, you know that I picked up a 93 Z28 that was a complete car that had been totaled in the front. I traded for that car. What I traded for it, I had a little bit less than $300 in, but it was worth about $1,500. Now you're probably saying, so you traded something that's worth $1,500 for a totaled car? Well, yeah, I did, but I had less than $300 on it. So I traded for the car. I got all the parts I wanted off of it. I sold a lot of parts off of it that I didn't need and made my money back. And then once I was done with the car, I sold it for junk and made a little more money on it. So I actually ended up being money ahead on that car. This car, as I've said before, started out as a V6 car. It had a decent gear in the rear end. It's not the best gear. It's by far not the worst gear. But it's an okay gear. It had a 323 rear end in it. If I was building a drag car, I probably wouldn't want that gear, but this is going to be a street car. 342 would have been better, but 323 is not horrible. However, it did have a single track rear end in it. The Z28 that I had for a parts car had a 323 gear as well, but it had a posi rear end. So I took the rear end out of the Z28 and put it in this one, and I put the rear end out of the V6 in that one and let it go with the car when I sold it for junk. Now, that car was wrecked back in 2013, and it had been stored most of that time, if not all of that time, outside. So the rear end had a lot of rust on the outside, a lot of scale. It could have been stripped down and shipped off and had it dipped and everything, but I didn't need to do that. So we brought it over here to our shop, and my wife and I, Dawn, spent a week with drills and wire wheels, and we cleaned that whole rear end down to bare metal. Now, yeah, that's a little bit of work, and some people might not want to do that work. If you don't, that's fine. Personally, for me, it was time in the garage that I enjoyed, and it got me away from other stuff. So that's kind of how I relax, is time in the garage. I find it peaceful. So spending a week with a wire wheel, cleaning up a rear end didn't really bother me at all. Once we had it cleaned down to bare metal, we primered it, we painted it, and then we put it in the car. Now, when we put it in the car, we did use the factory parts to put it back in. We used the factory control arms and everything. We didn't torque everything down to torque specs, obviously, because we weren't going to be keeping most of those parts, but we did put it in and tighten it down. So once I had the rear end, I had it clean, I had it painted, it was in the car, it was time to start buying parts to upgrade it. So the first parts that I bought were the control arms. The control arms, I got those from, I'm not going to lie, I got those from eBay. I checked BMR, I checked Summit, I checked Amazon, I checked Jegs, and I checked eBay. eBay was the cheapest place at that time to buy those. BMR was going to charge me $35 just to ship them. I found them on eBay for the same base price that BMR was charging for them, but they had free shipping. So I saved myself $35 on the same exact part. The next part I bought was the single adjustable pan hard rod. That I bought at Amazon. At the time, Amazon was the cheapest place to buy it. And I was able to get free shipping on it because we have Amazon Prime. That's another thing that's key with Amazon is, Amazon Prime, you get free shipping on most things, on a lot of stuff. And Amazon Prime's really not that expensive. They charge you $12 and something a month for it. It's not bad. And so I bought the single adjustable pan hard rod from Amazon. I gave $141.39. That's everything, tax, everything. At that time, that same part at BMR was $139.91 without shipping or anything. So had I bought it from BMR, I would have ended up paying more. And I'm not knocking BMR. I mean, I love their parts. Their parts are great. But I'm trying to do this on a budget, and I'm going to buy things as cheaply as I can to save money. Now, I didn't save a lot of money on the motor. That's a whole different story that, well, I'm sure we'll get into in another video when we finish putting that together. But aside from the motor, the rest of this car is pretty much being built on a budget. So now I had the control arms and I had the pan hard rod. So the rest of the parts I actually bought from Summit because at the time that I bought them, Summit was the cheapest place. And I got great prices on them, honestly. The Mosier axle bearings and seals, I mean, I had $54 in those. That's not bad. No, that's not bad at all. The diff cover, it's a Mosier aluminum girdled diff cover. I had $176.89 in that from Summit. That was, shipping, tax, everything. The next parts I bought was the BMR relocation brackets. I bought a hardware kit for the rear control arms. I bought new bump stops. I will add the bump stops are the only thing I've put on this car in the back that is not BMR, and I went with UMIs. Honestly, I just liked them better and they were cheaper. So that I bought all at the same time. The relocation brackets, hardware kit for the relocation brackets, hardware kit for the control arms. And the reason I bought that is because I didn't buy it when I bought the control arms because I was going to use the factory hardware. And I cleaned up the factory hardware and painted it, but I just wasn't happy with it. So I bought a hardware kit. And the bump stops. I bought all of that at the same time from Summit, and I had $134.70 in that whole setup. That's not bad, guys. Not for relocation brackets, 2 hardware kits, and new bump stops. $134 is cheap. The last part I bought for the rear end, which you saw in the opening scene of this video, was the single adjustable BMR torque arm. Now, I did get that off Marketplace. I was lucky. A guy posted it. I saw it. I had the cash. I bought it. I gave $275 for the torque arm with the poly bushing off Marketplace. At the time, that torque arm from BMR was $350. Now, the gentleman I bought it from was in New York, and I'm in Indiana. So that was quite a ways to get it shipped, and it wasn't cheap. I paid $75 for shipping. I normally would not pay $75 for shipping on a part, and I'm sure a lot of you are saying, I am not paying $75 to have a part shipped. And normally, you're right. That would be kind of absurd. But I have $275 in this part. The guy wanted $200 for it, and I paid $75 for shipping. I still saved $75 over what it would have cost me if I'd have bought it from BMR, because it would have been $350. So in this specific case, I didn't mind spending $75 to have it shipped because I still saved $75. So that's what you have to do. You have to do your research. You have to do some legwork. Sometimes I get parts from the junkyard, great parts. You're not going to get those parts sitting at home or sitting on your couch watching TV or in your garage. And I'm not knocking being in your garage. I love being in my garage. But you have to get out and you have to look and you have to do the legwork. You have to do the research. Perfect example, I have a Turbo 400 transmission for this car. You can't buy one of those right now for less than $400 to $600 for one that's not rebuilt. I didn't have that to dump on a transmission right now, not when I'm trying to buy parts for the rear end and everything else. So I was in the junkyard with my wife, and there was a Camaro there that they had just gotten in, and it was a nice car, except for the obvious wreck damage that put it in the junkyard. But it was a nice car. And I just wanted to look at it to see if there was anything on it that I needed. And a lot of times I'll just look in the cars anyway, because people leave stuff in cars that you wouldn't believe they leave in cars. But so we looked underneath it. It had a double adjustable tubular pan hard rod, and I didn't need that because it wasn't what I wanted for my car. But I knew a buddy of mine wanted one, and he had the transmission. So I took it off the car and I bought it. I think I might have had 30, 35 bucks in it. I, got the mounts and everything. And I traded that to my buddy, and that and a couple other things, for the transmission. So I have a transmission that normally would have cost me between $400 and $600, and I only have a few dollars in it because I knew that somebody needed that part. I didn't need it, but I knew somebody that did, and I knew they had something that I did need. Sometimes that's what you got to do. You can do stuff like this on a budget. It just takes a little bit of work and a little bit of time. You have to be passionate about what you're doing, and you have to be committed to what you're doing. If you're committed to something, you're going to make that happen no matter what. You say to yourself, I really want to do this. I don't know how, but I'm going to make this happen. One way or another, I'm going to make it happen because I really want to do this. That's being committed. And that's what you have to do with projects like this if you want to do them on a budget. You have to be passionate and you have to be committed. You have to put in the time and the legwork to find the parts, but they're out there. If you look at what some people have in their rear ends, some people have $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 in a rear end. Now, granted, a GM 10 bolt is not the greatest rear end, and this one might not last forever. But I have $700 in it, and I'm sure it's going to last a while. I mean, this ain't a drag car, so I'm not going to be blowing the tires off of it every weekend. So $700 versus $2,000 or $3,000 for a new rear end, I'll do that all day. So I just wanted to get this out there because, as I said, I've talked to people that want to do stuff like this and they don't think they can afford it. And honestly, guys, in most cases you can. You just have to go about it the right way. Honestly, if I didn't budget shop and I just went to BMR and bought all these parts, I'm sure I would have had well over $1,000 in it, easily. I don't have $1,000 to just drop at BMR on suspension parts. I don't. I make good money, but I also have a family to support. I don't make money like that. So I bought these parts over a few months. I started, this is March. I started back in October of last year. And I'm still not done with the rear end. I still have to get shocks and I still have to get a sway bar. Other than that, I'm done. But, it's been, 6 months now that I've been buying parts for this rear end. I mean, yeah, that's a while to have to spread it out, but I'm not driving it right now anyway. I'm still putting a motor together. I mean, it's still sitting on blocks here in the garage getting worked on. So it's not hurting me at all right now to have to spread that out. Buy a part here, buy a part there, buy one part a month. Whatever you got to do is what you got to do if you're working on a budget, but it can still be done. So, like I said, I just wanted to get this out there mainly for the people that want to do this and don't think they can. You can. You really can. You just have to work at it. So, now that we've went through all that, let me show you exactly what we've done to this rear end. We're going to do a small video here to show you exactly what it looks like right now. And then we also have some pictures that we took while we were doing the work that will show where we started and the progression of the rear end part of this project. I think when you watch this video and you look at these pictures and you see where we started at with this rear end and where it's at right now, I think you'll be seriously surprised and probably impressed that we only have $700 in this whole setup. So take a look at this video, take a look at the pictures, And keep in mind what I said. Go to the manufacturer, go to Summit, go to Jegs, go to Amazon, go to eBay. Amazon sells a lot of car parts now, and they sell a lot of LS swap parts, and they're not cheap knockoff parts. I mean, some of them might be, but they sell a lot of the big name performance parts. And I'm also going to put the links for all these parts in the video description. So check down in the description. Like I said, I'm going to put the links for all these parts in there. As of time of filming this video, I do not have the links for Summit yet. I do have the ones for eBay. I do have the one for Amazon. And by the time this video is released, I'm hoping to have the ones from Summit. If you look down in the video description and you don't see any of the links for Summit, just keep looking back, because when I get those, I'm going to update the video description and I will put those in there. But yeah, check down the links below. Like I said, I'm going to do the work for you. You don't even have to go to the websites and type it in. All you got to do is click the link. It's going to take you right to the site, to the exact part I bought, and budget shop. I mean, just because I bought the control arms at eBay, that was the cheapest place I bought them at the time. That might not be the cheapest place to get them now. BMR might be the cheapest place to get them right now. Amazon might be the cheapest place to get them right now. This is tax time. Parts fluctuate at tax time. Some people lower their parts at tax time because they know that people have money and they want to sell a lot of parts. Other places raise their parts at tax time because they know that people have money and they want to try to make a little more. So what was the cheapest place at the time I bought my parts might not be the cheapest place now, but you just have to shop around among those websites and find out what is the cheapest place at this time. So as I said, I'm going to do the work for you. I'm going to put all the links in the description. All you got to do is just click on the link. It's going to take you right to it. So I think that's going to wrap this up for now. Like I said, we're going to show you a video clip here and some pictures, and that will pretty much wrap up the video. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't watched our other videos, please watch those. If you haven't subscribed yet, definitely hit the subscribe button. You'll notice at the end of this video, we have our logo up there, and there's a small box with our logo in it. That's the subscribe button. That's the one you want to hit. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Also, please hit the bell notification if you haven't done that. If you hit the bell notification, every time we post a new video, you'll get an alert that we have one up. So, like I said, check out this small clip here at the end. Check out the pictures, and just do some budget shopping, because you can do a lot more than you think for less money than you think. Thanks again for watching. Like I said, please like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions about anything, post your questions down in the comment below. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. I'll be happy to share any information I have. We also have a Ground Up Garage Facebook group, so please go over to Facebook and join that group. And we also have a Ground Up Garage Instagram page, so you can follow us on Instagram. At both of those places, we'll be posting pictures and stuff that you may not see in the video, so definitely check both those out.